Chapter 1238. Emma said nervously, "I'm afraid I can't drive well. Both cars are very powerful. I'm afraid that something will happen accidentally. If you scratch someone's car again, it will be troublesome." Alex smiled and said, "It's okay, don't have such a big psychological burden, just treat these two cars as our own." Emma said, "You should give me an introduction and how to do it in detail." Alex nodded and said, "Okay, then I will introduce this Koenigsegg to you." At this moment, a brand new Audi R7 drove into the Beacon Top Villa area. The driver was Harold, who was dressed in a straight suit and looked like a dog. Sitting in the co-pilot was his father Michael. Sitting in the back row was the lady of the Richard family and Olivia. Recently, the Whale family's investment in the Richard family has arrived, and the Richard Group has repaid the loan owed to the bank, so the bank has also unblocked. And the Richard Group has also unblocked the sealed Richard family villa and antique cultural relics. The resurgence of the Richard family group made the Richard family extremely excited. Harold hadn't really experienced the life of the rich second generation for a long time, so he slapped the lady, hoping that she could buy a luxury car from the company to fill the storefront. In the previous Richard family, the best car was the Mercedes-Benz, which was priced at about $2 million. Michael's car was an Audi A4, while Harold's car was an old BMW. Originally, the family intended to replace him with a better car, but unexpectedly, something happened at home later. Not only was it not replaced with a car, but even the old BMW was found by the bank. Harold knew very well that if he wanted to become a rich second generation and let others look at himself again, he must first have a good car. "After all, I can't carry the Beacon Top Villa on my back, and when I go out, what others really think about me is what kind of car I drive." After such a long and hard life, Mrs. Richard couldn't wait to make a high profile, so she immediately decided and bought an Audi R7 that cost more than $4 million. Harold had never driven such an expensive car, so he was more excited than anyone else when he bought the car. At this time, Mrs. Richard was sitting in the extravagant rear row of the Bentley, touching the handmade pure leather interior, and exclaimed, "This good car is really good. This Audi is much better than my previous Mercedes." Harold said, "Grandma, Audi R7 is actually a bit worse than Rolls-Royce, or let's buy another Rolls-Royce if we don't look back." The lady said, "A Rolls-Royce is worth 7 or 8 million. It is still too early to buy a Rolls-Royce. Our top priority now is to quickly restart the business of the Richard Group." Harold hurriedly said, "Grandma, what I mean is that I also want to frustrate the spirit of Alex's family. Don't think they can live in a Beacon Top Villa, but the car they drive is still too shit BMW 5 Series. Add up to less than 1 million, less than 1/3 of our audience. If we drive a 7 to 8 million Rolls-Royce, we just drive to their door and poke them. Go to the backbone of home." Olivia said, "Brother, do you still need a Rolls-Royce if you poke the spine of their family? This Bentley is enough." "Yes." Lady Richard coldly snorted, and said, "Harold, drive directly to their house. I have to make fun of this family. I asked them to return to the Richard Group before they were reluctant to go back to the Richard Group. Now the Richard Group is alive. I don't regret it after seeing them."